Welcome to our weekly series of conversations with Mexicans in New England. The series are organized with the help of our wide network of Mexican scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, researchers, and educators living in New England to help us bring awareness to the important contributions our community is making here in New England. Today, our conversation is with Dr. Narváez, and the theme is Designing Vaccines, a Race Against Time. Ana Narváez was born in Madison, Wisconsin, while her parents studied their master's degree. At 5 years old, she moved to Monterrey, Nuevo León, where she completed her studies, including her bachelor's degree in food industry engineering at the famous Tecnológico de Monterrey. Later, she obtained her PhD degree in biochemistry at Arizona State University. And right after, she was offered a postdoctorate degree by the Swedish Royal Academy of Sciences to continue her research on DNA synthesis. In 2007, she joined the University of Cambridge as a senior postdoc and later as an oncology research associate. During her time at the University of Cambridge, her research led to a better understanding of pancreatic cancer and the creation of the company Foremost. In 2016, Anna joined AstraZeneca as a principal scientist, and after 4 years, she moved on to join Moderna Therapeutics as director of Translational Biology, where she focuses on the development of a vaccine for COVID-19. When she is not working on science projects, Anna likes to paint oleos, cook, and she's a member of book fairies to promote reading. Anna, thank you so much for accepting to share with us your experience here in New England in Moderna.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to having you. And tell us more about your what it means being a woman working in STEM. What has been your experience as a woman working at a male-dominated area?
Yes, I think I've always worked in these types of environments. It's slowly changing and more women are rising up the executive management, which is encouraging to see. But we still have a long way to go. And I guess my personal philosophy has always been that we have a gap and we need to be mindful about this gap. We need to make sure that we're actively seeking diversity and that we're actively encouraging diversity across, not only as a leader when you're building your team, but also across the company for you to be that champion to encourage those and to speak truth to power sometimes, to say, no, this is the way we communicate, this is the way we do things, this is not quite accurate, you're perceiving things wrong. It's an ongoing discussion, it's an ongoing conversation, and hopefully we'll get there someday. But I think if anything, it's to encourage open environments and open communications to address these issues face on, and that we champion those that are next in line. It is not only our struggle, but it's our responsibility and our duty to make sure that the next generation of female scientists has it easier and is better prepared. If we actually want diversity in the long run, we need to make sure that they are provided with the right tool sets, the toolkits, and that we coach them and mentor them, and importantly, sponsor them. I don't think we sponsor enough females. We need to be mentor less, sponsor more, give them those opportunities, and give them the chance to thrive as we go on. So I see it as, pushing the boundaries as much as I possibly can, but also as a responsibility for the next generation to make sure that those are actively represented and that we're actively looking to make things better.
Great. In previous years, the consulate has been able to organize with several Mexican scientists here a summer program for girls in STEM. So if we are able to do it again, we will surely invite you to be part of it, and so you can be a mentor to some of them. Yeah.
I would love that. Thank you very much.
Now, you're so young and you've been in many places. What has it been to come back to the US for your professional development here? And how did you make the decision of joining Moderna precisely at, I think it was the beginning of this year?
Mm-hmm. I didn't see it as joining the US. I basically, I had been operating AstraZeneca did provide a huge learning environment for me, but there was a point into which you kind of feel you need a new challenge. And you think, well, all right, what is the next step? What is the next challenge? And so you set up that challenge and say, well, maybe it's in direction A or B or C. And I've never been prescriptive on where I want to go. If I had it my way, I will take all the science, I'll put it in my hometown in Monterrey, and I will live there, close to my family and my nephew and my nieces. It will be great, my parents. But you have to make these choices. And I think you need to make those choices with the view that it's going to make you a better person. It's going to grow you as a scientist, and it's going to grow you as a human being. So when I started doing that, I didn't limit my search. I was in the UK, and I said, well, if the UK doesn't provide those opportunities, where are they? And I applied to Shanghai, and I applied to the US. And the opportunity just matched. It was the right challenge for me. It was very exciting, the technology that they had in Moderna. I knew that coming to Boston would be very positive because the science is very vibrant in this environment. Cambridge is the other hub. I went from Cambridge, UK to Cambridge, US. So it was an investment, really. I wasn't losing anything. So I just went with it. I just basically was focused on what is the next best step for me, irrespective of the country and the place. And Cambridge was incredibly attractive to me, just because it what has to offer. So it was a very easy decision.
Great. Well, welcome. Totally. And
thank you.
There is a representative of the Tec de Monterrey here, and the last years there's been more than 60 students of Tec de Monterrey in different labs in Harvard and MIT. And last year I hosted at home a meeting of the Exatex here. Hopefully soon we can do something again, and it'll be fantastic to have you among that group of Exatex in Boston.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Now tell us, Moderna today is one of the first companies that started working on a vaccine, and as we have read in the news, it is going to begin the phase 3 of clinical trials in July with over 30,000 people. And if this trial goes well, probably there could be a first vaccine produced by the end of the year. It must be very interesting for you to work with a company that is leading the effort at a worldwide scale. Could you tell us more about, what can you tell us about your job in supporting this very, very important research for the vaccine?
Yeah, it's certainly a very unique time, to put it lightly. From a scientific perspective, it's a little bit bittersweet because the science is fantastic. Then you're also living a particular reality. But if I focus first on the science, from one end, you are stretching your capabilities. I think we're working very hard towards a common goal. And some of the traditional, functions within a company are blurred at the moment because it's practically everyone in the company is contributing towards delivering this vaccine. And it's a very high energy environment. The amount of collaborations are just increasing every day. And everyone has the mentality of, let's just get on with this. So what is the problem at hand? What can I do to help solve the problem? It's very simple, and you're constantly doing this proactively as we progress, actually, as we're trying to tackle this pandemic. It is certainly a very relentless environment. Everyone is not only looking at the timelines, is basically trying to perform as best possible and to really make sure that we are delivering as quickly as possible without cutting any corners. That this is the one time into which you want to deliver the absolute best science in record time. It's an urgency without sacrificing any of the quality and any of the science that every day we speak about. On the other end, there's a practicality and a logistics that have changed substantially. Your living reality has changed. We haven't stopped, our scientists haven't stopped going to the lab. You're establishing schedules, social distancing, having constant conversations of whether people, how are people feeling, where's their well-being, because they're not only scientists, they're sons and daughters and parents, and living a reality that is constantly changing, that is very uncertain, and that we've been living in Massachusetts, which is also a state that has been hit hard by COVID. So being mindful of these situations is an everyday way of life, basically. You find a way, you adapt, you organize, you remain very flexible, and I think you take it day by day. But that's basically what we've been doing since we quarantined on March 10th.
Well, you quarantined in March 10th? You began very early.
We did. We were a little bit earlier than Massachusetts, but we got sent home. Some of us that don't work directly in the lab got sent home, and all of this started. We started putting methods in place and doing, and a lot of the people were going to work every day in shifts, and this is just a testament to how committed and relentless everyone in the company is to deliver the best we possibly can in the shortest amount of time possible.
Now, your job title says that you are Director for Biological Science and Translational Biology. Could you tell us what does that mean for people like me that are not scientists? Translational biology. What, I suppose that it's what is translated, is passed from one person or one animal or one micro.
Yeah, exactly. So I live in an organization called Platform, and Platform is responsible to delivering the Moderna technology, how do we need to design the mRNA? What does the mRNA look like? How do we need to deliver some of these modalities? And one of the big questions there is, we have been building a lot towards the molecular understanding, the mechanistic understanding of some of our drugs. How is it that we take those molecular mechanistic understanding of what our drugs are doing in some workhorse models and predict what they will look in a patient? Going through several models and species, and how is it that we pave that roadmap to make sure that we build sustainability in the next generation of medicines? How is it that we need to do that? What would the pharmacology look like in a modality that is still young and we're still learning a lot from? So what are the models that we need to internalize that are far more predictive that currently we have? So it's one of those things that I was brought in to build and expand within platform and connect a little bit into the different groups that are going to help build that sustainability that the company needs, and that we're going to help us build the next generation of therapeutics, and provide what else can we do with this technology for future medicines.
Wow, great. And one big challenge, I suppose, will also be once the third phase ends, the production of the vaccine. And I can imagine, because my government already asked me to be aware, and if they could contact someone, I can imagine all the world will be on top of Moderna precisely if it happens. That's quite a challenge.
Yes, it is. And I think Moderna, and actually I think everyone is not just Moderna, are taking huge leaps in manufacturing without knowing whether the vaccine that they're championing will be effective. We're doing the same things. We kickstarted clinical trials whilst actually stretching the manufacturing. How many doses do we need? How is it that we can make more doses faster? What do we need to have in place? And you will see that in some of the communications that the company has actually issued, into which we have set collaborations with Lonza, for example, to scale up manufacturing, and recently, just yesterday, Catalan, which now are going to provide the vials actually for the vaccines. So this is a constant discussion and things that need to be into place. Usually you will do it sequentially. You'll have your approved product and then go to manufacturing. We cannot afford that luxury. We're doing it in parallel. We are certainly very encouraged because we received interim phase 1 positive results. So we think we have a good chance. We're optimistic. But we still need to make sure that this translates. And as you correctly point out, we're set very shortly to begin phase 3 clinical trials. And that will probably tell us the ultimate yes or no answer. But in the meantime, we are operating, assuming that it will work and that we need to manufacture as many doses as we possibly can.
And those the trials on those 30,000 people, I would suppose that it's people in many places in the world, or is it all in the US? Do you know anything about it? Or? I'm just curious.
I think I'm not exactly certain. I think they're in the US, but don't quote me on that. And we have published those trials, and I think we are expanding within the US first. We have a very big collaboration with the NIH, and that is part of the reason to do some of these.
Great. Now, based on your expertise working in drug development and research, how do you see the future? Do you think that COVID-19 could have been avoided? Is there once we have the vaccine, will we be immune for that? It will be something similar like the flu. What can you tell people like me that don't know much about it? What do you see in the future?
So I'm not really sure it can be avoided. A pandemic can be avoided. This is part of the planet's evolution. Certainly, we can learn how to tackle it better when the next one arrives. In my personal opinion, I think is when the next one arrives, not if the next one arrives. We certainly learned a lot from this one. We're continuing to learn a lot from this one, and it will be good to pressure test what were those critical steps into which we got it wrong, and we will need to adjust in the future. In terms of from a scientific point point of view, I think we're going to need to understand these kinds of pandemics a little bit better. Where do they come from? Can we track them? How is it that we put things in place to make sure that we are aware of them earlier? It's not just a scientific question. This is a society type of question. So we certainly need to be mindful of that. And I mean, the only thing that I can probably say is, in terms of 2020, I think it will be a very interesting year. I think we will continue to see social distancing and this new normal. How many immunizations the vaccine will take, we don't know. Until we have a vaccine and we do that trial, we will know. Will the immunization be enough for a one-off? Will we have to do several immunizations? Will it be seasonal? We don't know enough about this virus to answer that question. I think it's premature. But the one thing that I will say is that we need to remain flexible. We need to adapt as quickly as possible so that we can better respond for anything upcoming in our future.
Great. Now going to the more personal, how has it been moving to a new city in a moment when the city closes and there's very few social contact? At the consulate we had, our last event was precisely March 9th for the International Women's Day, that we invited a group of, it was like 20 or 30 professional women in Boston. We didn't know about you then. And then we closed a week later. How has it been for you arriving to a city that at least in March and April, it was totally abandoned almost? How are you settling?
It was very interesting. Certainly when I planned it, I couldn't even begin to imagine that this will happen. I came in early in December to scope where to live as part of as part of the onboarding process. And I thought, yes, let's live somewhat central so I can get to know a lot of people and I can socialize. And the reality turned out to be quite different. You cope day by day. You carry on the work. I'm lucky because I still have a job. It's a very engaging job. It keeps me very busy and entertained. And then the rest you Zoom like everyone else, and you take you try to adapt to your well-being. I'm actually quite adaptable, and I've lived across different countries enough that it's hard to get me down. I tend to be on the positive side and the optimistic side. So you find creative ways to entertain yourself. So it's a lot of people ask me that question, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I have a very big window. The sun comes out every morning. Thankfully now it's a lovely day. So if the sun comes up, I'm happy. Let's get on with it. So
great. Well, I hope that soon we can get together. And my grandfather was from Monterrey, and I love machaca, and it's one of my specialties. So I'd love to invite you one day over for a breakfast with machaca, and to introduce you with the many other people from Monterrey that are here like you, contributing to research and knowledge and science for a better world. So thanks so much, Anna, for accepting to share with us. Good luck in the next months, and we'll be following definitely. And we're very, very proud to know that there's a Mexican contributing in this research.
Thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity to speak to you. I look forward to the days where we can get together and share some machaca and
meet the rest of the colleagues working here, Mexican colleagues working here.